All right, the Dr. Akash Show. We are in 2024, moving right along here. And you are probably in a position wondering why you may have fallen off on your New Year's resolutions, right? Let's get into it and let's get you back on track, set up properly so you can kill and accomplish your goals in 2024. All is not lost. We're going to dive into it in this episode of the Dr. Akash Show. How to win in 2024. So here's the biggest problem that I see, and here's what research has actually backed up. The honeymoon period of the year typically is the month of January. Specifically, the first 2 weeks of January is where everybody, kind of follows through with their resolutions. The gyms are packed, diets are clean, spending is moderated or managed or whatever the case may be. But 45% of people drop off of their resolutions after the first 2 weeks of January. This is a study that was completed. So almost half of us actually drop off after the first 2 weeks before the month is even over. And then in addition to that, you're looking at an additional number of people dropping off through January, February. So by the time you're in March or April, most of us have given up on those New Year's resolutions. Now, why do we do this? Why do we every year set up resolutions for ourselves and every year we drop these off and we just rinse and repeat forever and our life goes nowhere? We're going to talk about the bigger problems here, what you can do to solve these, and as always, practical, free or inexpensive solutions that you can apply today. And we're going to look at rituals and routines to keep you resilient and continue you pushing towards becoming more robust in this space. But guys, if you haven't done so far and you find value in this, please like, subscribe, and share this podcast. This kind of gets the information out to more like-minded people like ourselves. So what is the deal with New Year's resolutions and why are we always falling off? Like I said, 45% of people drop off after the first 2 weeks of January. Here's the overarching conclusion of most of the studies that have been completed in this space. The reasons that people tend to create resolutions and then fall off are as follows. The first one is people think too big and too non-specific without a plan in place. It's great to think big, and you gotta think big, but in order to do anything in this world and to do anything that you really want to set your mind and do and accomplish. But here's the deal. If you're thinking big and you're in this big idealistic space, but you're not taking specific action or you don't have a specific plan in place to pursue that, the chance of you actually getting any sort of momentum and progress is very, very low. I'm just gonna throw out an example. A lot of us set health goals for the new year, right? Every year people say they wanna lose weight, they wanna get in shape, blah, 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 right? So a lot of it literally stops at that. Like the goal is literally, I just wanna get in shape. Or the goal is I wanna lose 10 pounds, but there's no plan. There's no plan, there's no structure, there's no kind of action step to take towards getting the job done. There's no mentor selected, there's no program that they're following. It's just kind of like, well, I'll figure it out day by day. And then obviously those people, it becomes very exhausting and fatigue inducing if every single day you have to wake up and you literally have to reinvent the wheel. Every day you're thinking about, what should I work out today? What should I eat today? How am I gonna pursue these goals further today? And every day you're just doing this over and over. It's exhausting, guys. What's not exhausting, which we'll get into a little later, is having a specific plan in place that you just follow. So you have to be a little bit more kind of automated about it and supersede your feelings with some sort of system in place that allows you to actually move towards a goal and get some momentum and move the needle. Otherwise, you're just willy-nilly until you quit. And that's exactly what's happened to most of us. Another problem is not considering your why. Like, why do you want to get in shape? Why do you want to lose 20 pounds? Why do you want to make $1 million this year? Why do you want to do these things? What are they going to do for you? What do you think you're going to gain by pursuing whatever goal it is you're pursuing, right? Like, let's say you're morbidly obese and you say to yourself, I want to lose 50 pounds this year, or I want to lose 100 pounds, right? So you're thinking really big. And let's say you actually have a plan in place. This is how I'm going to do it. I've selected this coaching system to follow. I've selected this person as my mentor, and I'm going to use these tools to move forward on this path, and I'm just going to follow directions and I'm going to get there. But you don't really know why. If I ask you, why do you want to lose the weight? And you're like, well, I just think I should lose weight. Or oh, people tell me it's healthy. I mean, what kind of nonsense is that, right? If you don't have a specific why on why you're doing what you're doing, for example, I want to lose 25 pounds because I know if I drop my weight and I fall into my appropriate BMI, body mass index, for my height, then my likelihood of living longer increases by X%, which will allow me to live a healthier life, greater health span, so I can be more present and more active with my children from years 8 to 18. That is a why. Or I want to make $1 million this year because it will allow me to save 50% of my income while not changing my overall lifestyle. But the excess income that I will have to spend will allow me to get this kind of a car, which is important to me, maybe fill up the scholarship funds for my children, which is important to me, and maybe my spouse needs X, Y, and Z, and maybe I can work less because I can automate and optimize these certain elements of my life so I have more time to spend with people that I want to spend it with. Or I have more time to spend working on my true heart's passion and my true business idea and my true interest, which is what my soul is calling me to do. These are specific reasons, right? It can absolutely be materialistic. I have no problem with that. If your goal is to make $1 million a year because you want to buy yourself a badass car, do it. Hey man, at least you're going to get motivated to do it and improve your life and in some way provide a valuable service for people to allow you to pursue what you want to pursue. Another reason, guys, is people are not specific, right? There's no specificity like I briefly touched upon. Like, listen, I want to make $1 million a year because it'll be fun. I just want to be badass. I want to just say I have $1 million a year so I can pat myself on the back and my ego and my buddies and my Instagram account will love it, right? But why? Like, really think about that why. Simon Sinek says it the best, right? When he talks about your why. Go check out his old YouTube videos about talking about that. They're amazing and they're spot on. They're simple and they get to the point. But understand your why and be super specific about it. And then you'll kind of be able to move forward, not if, but when times get challenging and when times get tough and when it's easy to quit. Another huge reason, guys, is the comfort zone, the dreaded comfort zone, right? If you're in a place where you have the golden handcuffs on, you're making enough money where your lifestyle is pretty good, you don't want to rock the boat, you're paying your bills, you got a little bit of surplus cash, you can buy things here and there as you need it. You're overall doing pretty good, but you're not living the dream that you really want to live and you're not pursuing the life that you really want to pursue, but things are pretty warm and comfortable and cozy and I'm all right here, that comfort will kill you. That comfort is just enough to get most people in a place where they can just marinate and move right along on cruise control for a year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, right? Chasing that retirement plan, chasing that pension. Even though I'm overweight, nothing really bad has happened to me yet. So I'm okay. I'm not really that unhealthy. Just being in that comfort zone is enough to keep people just stuck and just stagnant and just kind of treading water in this very mediocre to maybe average life. And at some point you get so comfortable where you just kind of accept this as your reality. And that's it, guys. And once you've accepted that, kind of it's almost impossible to kind of step away from that and pivot and push towards something much more difficult, right? Because here's the reality. The life that you were meant to live and the person that you were meant to become is not going to be easy to get to. And you're going to guaranteed be struck with many challenges and many difficulties, many temptations pulling you back, many, many, many things that are pushing you away from that, right? So why would you do it? That's why you got to have a specific path on how you're going to do it, why you're doing it in the first place. What do you want to do, first of all? Why do you want to do it? And specifically, what is the goal, right? You get those three things in place, the rest you can figure out on your own. So ultimately, here's what I'm saying is the reason people kind of fall apart in after January, right? Like I said, 45% or higher by the end of the month. They're thinking big, which is great, but they have no plan in place. They're not specific. There's no real goal in place outside of just a vague kind of general cloudy thought or statement, right? There's no real why. People don't necessarily know why they want to do what they want to do. Their friends are doing it. Maybe social media has suggested they should do it, or they just kind of pick it out of thin air because they got nothing else to think about pursuing, right? So no real clear why. And then of course the comfort zone. Breaking out of the comfort zone is hugely difficult, requires lots of momentum, lots of self-belief, lots of understanding on the foundational and fundamental why of why you're doing what you want to do. Figure those things out first. So let's talk a little bit about how we do this and what we can expect, right? So one thing that I've noticed with a lot of my clients and in general is the month of January is actually the easy part, right? The month of January, everybody is done with their holiday celebrations, probably a lot of gluttony, so much easier to snap back to a regular diet. And the month of January, everybody is trying to kick ass, so it's easier to push through, right? Here's something somewhat contradictory for you to marinate on, okay? Getting too excited about a certain goal is not necessarily a good thing. If you find yourself so excited about getting in shape and so excited about losing weight, for example, you end up saying to yourself, I'm going to work out twice a day, every single day for an hour each time. I don't care. I'm going to stop talking to all of my friends because I just want to work out and eat well and become this optimized version of myself, right? You're basically trying to go from 0 to not even 100 to like 200. And when you do this, the likelihood of you being able to sustain that is like 0, right? So be a little bit more realistic and managed in your goals in the beginning. Build the momentum, which will build the self-belief, the self-confidence, allow you to prove to yourself that you can do what you tell yourself you're going to do, and then elevate further. So if the goal is to get to 2 workouts a day, for example, don't start at 2 workouts a day from 0. You're not going to succeed past a week at the most, right? But if you get yourself to a point where you're working out once a day, every single day, which is very difficult to do in and of itself, and you've been able to carve that time out and your self-belief is now skyrocketing, sure, add the second workout in at the end of a month or so. But start with realistic steps so you don't shoot for the moon so aggressively that you basically set up a situation that is not sustainable. And then you say to yourself, well, see, that's why I couldn't do it. So whatever, I'm just going to stop this goal now and whatever, I'm fine where I'm at. And you drop into the comfort zone, right? So be realistic with your goals, stick to them, move forward with them on a regular basis, and then elevate further. So ratchet up the ladder as you are ready to and as you can tolerate to. Don't just try to reach for the top rung of the ladder when you've been sitting on the couch for 5 years. Now, thinking big is great, right? Like I said earlier, but how do you sustain a big idea? You sustain a big idea by breaking it down into small parts. What I mean is this, you want to start $1 million business, right? And you figured out your why, you figured out all the other things we talked about. You're excited, but not so overly excited that you're pushing yourself to unsustainable levels right out of the gates, and you're moving along. Break it down into sustainable parts, reverse engineer it. This is my business. This business I project to make $1 million this year. This is why, because this is the service or product that I am selling, and this is how I'm going to get this product or service in front of potential clients who then will accelerate the purchasing and get me moving towards my goals, right? Have a specific plan or program in place. We're lucky, guys. We live in a time where there are so many resources, so many fantastic mentors in any space that can allow you to do this. Now, these mentors are going to be completely useless unless you are clear on what it is you want to do and why you want to do it, and you're ready to put in the work, right? And you're ready to pay the money, because this is a pay-to-play world, guys. And listen, the reality is this: you're going to have to pay the right mentor for what it is you want to do to get close to these types of people. And then that kind of positive energy and productive momentum will rub off on you. But be prepared to pay to play. And listen, by you paying somebody to do these types of mentoring or counseling or consulting services to help you get to where you're going to go, you got skin in the game now. You're going to take it more seriously for yourself. So you're actually doing yourself a service more so than anybody else. Understanding how being specific and getting that mentor in place is going to help you really build and construct that program that you will need to execute and put into action. And then your why, like I talked about earlier, have a strong why. This can take you the most time out of everything we've talked about. I want you to take the time without distraction, without your phone, without music, anything. Get a piece of paper and get a pen and figure out your why. Write it all down. Ask yourself the question why 5 times in a row. Ask it once, get your answer. Ask it again from that answer and go deeper and deeper and deeper. 5 whys in a row will get you to the place where you will truly understand why you want something. And if you can't get to that why on whatever goal you've set for yourself, then you need to take a step back and understand maybe this isn't the right goal for you, and why is it that you are pushing for this goal anyway, and really take a closer look to understand what it is you want, why you want it. And once you figure all that out, hey, your goal may be totally different than what you anticipated it was going to be in the first place. And finally, your comfort zone. Let's get you out of your comfort zone. Now, how do you do that, right? If you've been in a place where you're stuck in your comfort zone for a long period of time, the best and easiest way to break out of it is self-induced suffering. Now, what do I mean by that? Self-induced suffering basically is putting yourself in certain situations that are hard for you, but they prove to yourself that you can withstand suffering and you can do things that your mind tells you to do. Your mind can supersede your body. Great examples I'll get into here in a moment. But creating a situation where your life is more difficult artificially will prepare you to deal with the difficulties that come with leaving your comfort zone and pursuing your true path. So guys, as always, we like to talk about rituals and routines that keep you resilient and help you become robust. So rituals and routines in respect to what we've talked about today. I want to dive directly into the comfort zone artificial suffering creation part here, right? Now, the rituals and routines that you can create for yourself to expose yourself to artificial suffering include the following. A cold shower in the morning. If your mind can supersede your desire for comfort and your body's need for comfort on a regular basis by taking a cold shower or doing a cold plunge, you are now exposing yourself to suffering, which is going to make you become more and more resilient. It becomes a mindset and it becomes very habitual with repeated activity. Another great example is early wake up time. If you're used to waking up whenever and you kind of dilly-dally in the morning, force yourself to wake up at 5 a.m., 5:30 a.m. Something difficult for you, right? This will cause you to change your lifestyle in a way where maybe you need to go to bed earlier now. But hey, now waking up early, it will never be easy, but waking up like that at a point where it's difficult for you and accomplishing that and not hitting snooze, you've accomplished a win for the day. You've told yourself you're going to do what you said you were going to do and you did it, right? And you're doing something that is causing suffering. You're exposing yourself to suffering. So things like this, right? Like early wake up time, workout every single day, cold plunge or cold shower, these types of artificial suffering can create situations where you become much more resilient automatically. So now when you get into a situation where you have to push out of your comfort zone to pursue your soul's calling, you're somewhat habituated to it and you have the mindset to pursue it properly. And then routines, right? So routines apply to everything we just talked about, but also have a routine of a daily practice where you review your specific goals and your specific targets taking you towards these annual goals, quarterly goals, whatever the case may be, so you continue to push forward daily with that daily momentum, marching you forward toward your goals. Resiliency. Resiliency is the ability to withstand difficult situations and move forward through them, right? You become resilient with the rituals and routines we've talked about today that artificially create suffering. You become resilient when you get specific about your goals and you understand your why on why you want to pursue them. And robust. You become robust, which is basically the most powerful version of yourself when you begin to manage your emotion. Specifically, in this case, what I'm referring to is managing that emotion of the brand new year, where you're so excited about something in January that you create a non-sustainable or unsustainable program for yourself, and you basically set yourself up for failure, and then you fail, and then you say, see, I told you so, and you drop back in your comfort zone. So in order to become that robust version of yourself, manage your emotions, specifically that emotion of excitement. I want you to be excited, but I want you to manage it so you can sustain it beyond the first 2 weeks of January. Don't be a statistic of 45% failure. Become the person that separates from everybody else with consistency. And become that person by managing those emotions of being overly excited or overly critical or overly negative or all those emotions, right? Manage it so you can sustain. So guys, if this was helpful for you, please like it and share it, and please subscribe. The algorithm states that most of you that listen to us haven't subscribed yet, so please go ahead and subscribe. And as always, remember, the best time to start something was yesterday. The second best time is today. Don't look back tomorrow with regret. Take a small step today and get closer to becoming unbreakable.